Pistons Live is presented by Cure Auto Insurance, and it is true. The Pistons win again. This is a game that was played in tight quarters throughout. Ton of credit to the Cleveland Cavaliers for putting it to the Pistons tonight. But in a game, you got the two of the top four teams in the Eastern Conference standings. And again, with only 25 games to go, now 24 games left in the season, this is a signature win for the Pistons against a Cleveland team they're going to be facing here in another 4 days. We'll do it again. But if it's anything like tonight, incredible atmosphere. You can see some of the storylines in this one. Again, it came down to the absolute wire. This gym was incredible atmosphere. And in the end, it is Detroit who gets it done. All right, let's bring everybody on camera here because it
was a hot gym.
It was a hot gym. I was going to say it. It was a hot gym tonight, but Dwayne Casey's not here right now. But just from a standpoint, Cade fouls out in this game. Jared Allen ended up fouling out in overtime. Duncan Robinson fouled out. There was so many storylines. There was so much that went down. Obviously, Jalen Duren's night. We'll get into that. Hope to hear from him momentarily. But just your overall thoughts. You've seen a lot of NBA games.
Yeah.
This is a regular season game, and I know a lot of people say, like, man, playoff-type atmosphere. But this atmosphere was electric.
Well, when you talk about winning the game, two things stood out to me, Johnny. First of all, 6 of 27, the Pistons shot from the three-point line. You're not going to win many basketball games if you shoot that bad. However, my statement that I typically make is if you control the glass, you have an opportunity to control the game. The Pistons had 55 rebounds tonight, 21 of those on the offensive end of the floor. So listen, if you shoot that bad, there's an opportunities to get offensive rebounds, and the Pistons got 21 of those. That's the game to me.
Yeah.
When you get that many offensive rebounds, you create second-chance opportunities, and the Pistons were able to capitalize on those, even though they were dismal from the three-point line.
Yeah, a lot of different ways to win in this league. Again, depth wins at this level. Pistons showcased it tonight. And again, down the stretch, they had to lean on some different guys. Daniss Jenkins, who we heard from just before the break. What can you say? I mean, what can you say about, again, just the ice water? Obviously, the game time free throws, inside 5 seconds of play in regulation to get us to OT. But there's just like, you got to have a little moxie in your game, right? You got to believe you belong, and you can't get tight. The collar can't get tight when the game's on the line, and he didn't.
Listen, if you talk to Daniss for more than 5 minutes, you understand the guy is loaded with confidence. Yeah. He's strong in his faith, and when he stepped to the line, I had no doubt that he was going to make all 3 of those calm, cool, and collected, and he sank them all. Nothing to be nervous about when Daniss goes to the free throw line again. This is what he is. If you ask him, he's built for this.
Yeah.
Because, again, he's got a lot of confidence in his ability, and more so than that, he's got a lot of confidence and got a lot of faith in who he is. And I think that's what we saw when he went to the free throw line and presented those 3 free throw shots that went straight through.
To get awarded the shot, right? To be able to get into your shooting motion, because obviously the league, you don't always get that call to go to the line to shoot 3, but he was so quick with it, and there was no mistaking that he was going up for the shot. That he earned the 3. But obviously it wasn't just the 3 free throws. It was everything he did in this game. Big block there at the end of the game as well. And there, the emotion on the face says it all in our Buick GMC Pro Vision. Look at him. Look at him.
Well aware that he also pointed down to Coach Bickerstaff, challenged this one. Yeah. Because I feel like I got a clean block on it, and he was absolutely right. Coach went to the challenge. Pistons end up winning that one.
It was huge.
That sealed the fate right there.
Yeah, big block shot on the other end. If you're going to start for this team, the Pistons, you got to be a two-way player. Daniss Jenkins is that. All right, let's get to the overtime session, our Xfinity highlights, because once it got to OT, when he made that, when he makes the 3rd free throw, ties it up, and they get a stop at the other end, then you get to OT, and you always feel like, especially in the college game, you always feel like once you get to overtime, it was like you already knew. Like you already knew, because the wave of momentum had pushed so much. Pistons race out to the first 6 points in that overtime frame. Now, they didn't run away with it.
No.
Obviously, a credit to Cleveland, and they're going to hurt you with their perimeter shooting. But in OT, they did enough, not having Cade Cunningham on the floor, still able to find ways with different guys.
Listen, lots of guys will get that belt, game belt tonight. Yeah. Asar Thompson played tremendous on defense. Uncle Tobias made some clutch baskets out of that post area. Then that's a nice feed from Daniss Duren running the floor. And the rebounding, as I said, 21 offensive rebounds, 55 to 41 was the advantage the Pistons took on the glass. To me, ultimately, that controlled the game, gave the Pistons the opportunity to win. The final salvo there by Bagley. Pistons all over it. They secure the rebound, and they go home with the victory.
Yeah, big-time stuff. Before the game, we were talking with JB Bickerstaff, and he apologized because he didn't have a voice.
Right.
Like a bit
Imagine
of laryngitis. Now, after 53 minutes of action, we're going to see what that voice sounds like now. But I obviously got to be pleased with the grit, the fight that his team showed here tonight. Let's hear from JB Bickerstaff. Coach's post-game remarks brought to you by Glassman Automotive.
AD, what did that final stretch from the end of regulation through overtime reveal about your group tonight?
I don't think it revealed anything, right? I think that's who we've been, and our guys continue to show up when their number's called.
In a moment that big for Daniss to be at the line, hit all three, I mean, just the poise that a young player shows in that moment to you.
I mean, he's been mature, you know what I mean? Like, I hate to say that, but it's not surprising anymore what he's done. When his number's been called, whatever the moment's been, he showed up, and he's been productive for us and effective for us.
Tonight was Duren's fourth straight game with 25 plus. Obviously, he had big plays on both ends after Cade fouled out. What have you seen from him just from a assertiveness standpoint this past week, and him stepping up and understanding what he can do to opposing defenses?
I mean, I think it's that moment where you figure it out, right? And all the things just come together, and I think they're coming together for him. The game slowed down for him. His understanding the spacing and when to attack, like all those things have slowed down and given him opportunities.
Although you ended up changing the rotation a little bit tonight by giving Marcus Sasser a chance, how did he impact this game that went beyond what we see on the box score?
I mean, his defense, his energy, his ability to space the floor. I think it's just like that next man up mentality, but there's a juice that comes with it. And I thought he brought that tonight.
You've mentioned since media day that y'all kind of challenged JD over the summer to be able to expand his game a bit more. And you just mentioned he's kind of figuring it out. Did you expect it to happen this fast?
I mean, the work that he put in is paying off, and that's all I can say.
JB, you said you've seen this from your team before, but you're down by 8 or 9, and Cade goes out, fouled out. So have you seen that with the final 2 minutes with everybody else?
That was 9 games we were playing with him.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, no. Again, it's moment to moment, time by time. Collectively, the guys rise to the occasion. And, you lose Cade, obviously that hurts. You lose Duncan, that hurts. But we're, like we keep saying, we're deep, and we trust the guys we have on the floor that they can go out and make plays. And they did that again tonight.
Welcome everybody back on. You guys didn't hear this, but if you're watching the game tonight, you heard the horn. There's a play to the final horn. That horn was sounding for I don't know how long it was, like 15 minutes or something. Anyway, how long? 12 minutes.
Somebody had to pull the plug on it to get it to stop.
They just punched it again. Rattled our cage a little bit. All right, you heard JB Biggers, and you learn a lot, obviously, about a coach and you talked about confidence, like in a guy like Daniss Jenkins. It's like the confidence that JB has. He wasn't in there wearing a smile ear to ear. It was like, we did what we were supposed to do. We handled our business. It wasn't pretty at times. But it wasn't surprising to him because of the mettle that his team showed tonight. And he was asked about Jalen Duren. We'll make him our Cure Auto player of the game. Third 30-15 game of his career. We were already talking about the numbers over the last 3 games since he came back from 2 game suspension.
Sure.
Teams can't do anything with him right now. I mean, this is, I think he's the best. I think he's the best big in the Eastern Conference right now.
Johnny, you have to get a whole lot of evidence to prove otherwise. And this guy tonight made it special because he was up against 2 of the premier defenders in the NBA in Bagley and Jared Allen. And he made his way to the basket time and time again. He was a force near the rim. He rebounded well. He played solid defense. Jared Allen fouled out, as a matter of fact, trying to defend Jalen Duren. This guy has come such a long way and still has a tremendous way to go to reach his ceiling, if there is any. But the way that he continues to play and hold himself accountable to be available and present in every game for this Piston team certainly is worth us talking about, Johnny, because I think that's the biggest improvement from this year, or from last year to this year, is that he told himself that he wanted to be present on this team and wanted to be responsible enough to have that. A lot of players, let me back up, a lot of players ask for that responsibility to be the guy, but there's a whole lot of things that go along with that, meaning that you have to also be very consistent. You've got to be the guy that's, no matter if you're feeling well or not feeling well, you got to show up and you got to play. And Jalen Duren has shown and proven that he's really willing to take that responsibility.
Yeah, very well said. And again, he's only 22 years old, 4th year in the league. When we talk about him being potentially, comeback player of the year. Denny Avdia out in Portland would be in that discussion. Jalen Johnson down in Atlanta would be in that discussion. But again, you got the first place team in the Eastern Conference. It's not all they don't have to just rely on Cade Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
They're 1-2 punch with Cade and JD. It's for real and it's here to stay. Incredible stuff, especially as you mentioned against guys like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen tonight. Couple nights ago against Victor Wembanyama.
Yep.
He doesn't shy away from it, and he accepts the challenge, and he continues to show up. All right, we're going to head inside the Pistons locker room here when we come back. A lot still more to discuss, and now the Pistons get ready for what'll be a fairly difficult 3-game road trip, which includes a trip to Cleveland here at the early part of next week. Much more to get to. You're watching Pistons Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.